Hi everyone, my name is Maribel.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're going to be talking about sports for your English conversation course. Thanks for having the conversation with me today, Jason.
No problem.
So let's talk about sports that you've played. What are some sports that you've played?
I think I've played, basketball, which is a fun sport.
Fun one.
And I've also run track in the past. And more recently, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, that's a big range of sports that you've played. Can you tell me a little bit more about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I think that one's less common, so maybe some people may not be as familiar with what that is. Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is most like wrestling, so it's kind of like grappling. No equipment is required. It's a pretty physical sport, but it's also good for self-defense.
It sounds like more intensive wrestling. Would that be a good way to describe it?
It is intense. That is a good way to put it.
Okay. And then you talked about basketball and track. So basketball, it's pretty popular around the world.
It is. I would say a lot of different countries play it, and you only need a ball to play basketball.
And a hoop.
And a hoop. Although, the hoop can be made out of any material. It doesn't have to be an official hoop. But yeah, it is played around the world.
Yeah. How many team members are on a basketball team typically?
Well, normally there's 5 on each team. But the good thing about basketball is you could play one-on-one, or 2 players versus 2 players. It's really, whatever you have.
Oh, could you do more than 5, do you think?
It would be very crowded.
Okay,
I guess there's nothing stopping you. At that point, it might make more sense to switch.
So it'd be 1 to 5 players per team.
Yes.
Okay. And track is just running fast, running long distances.
It's all of the above.
Okay.
There are different lengths that you could have. You could have short distance, medium distance, long distance. There are also other things such as long jump. So there's a wide variety of different activities just for track.
What would be considered a long distance in track?
I would say about a mile.
Oh yeah, that's a long distance. I remember having to run the mile run. Although I do like to run too. It's fun, but I don't do it as a sport where I'm competing with anybody. I just do it for fun outside, and sometimes I run on the treadmill, and that's nice when the weather is cold, and then I like to run outside for fun and
Which
for
one
fitness.
do you prefer?
I prefer running outside, especially like on a day when it's sunny and I can just observe the birds and any animals and just be in nature. So outside with good weather.
Do you like to run long distances or short distances?
I like to run long distances. I don't run very fast, I don't think. And so short distances, if I'm doing it to like enjoy nature and enjoy being outside, then I like a nice longer run. I also find that it's a really great time for me to think through things. So if I have like a big challenge at work, or I'm thinking about things and I need just some quiet thinking time, running is great for me for that. And I can usually think through things very clearly when I can just run and just focus a little bit differently.
And how long would that be? Like a 10-minute run? A 40-minute run?
Probably a 30-minute to an hour run. Now it's been a while, but I had trained to run a marathon. I run one marathon in my life. It was a fun marathon at Disney. But when I was training for that, I would do, hour runs pretty regularly. And so those were great. And, as you know, we lived near a park that had really beautiful just trails, and it was just really calm. And so it was a nice place to run for an hour, sometimes 2 hours.
That's a lot of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I would listen to some good podcasts too when I was running. All right. So we talked a little bit about basketball being, where you can play with a team. Have you played any other team sports?
I don't think so.
Okay. I I don't think I've played. I mean, I did some team sport like activities in high school, but they weren't like traditional sports. We did
Like what?
um, like we had an orienteering. I guess that is a typical sport now. It's an orienteering team.
What is orienteering?
Orienteering is a really unique sport. It's kind of combining running, hiking with map skills. So you would get a course, and it had different points on the map that you had to go and find, and you would go around and you would, punch your card when you got to those points. And so you'd start, and then usually this was when we lived in Texas in high school, so it would be on the mountain, and so you'd have your starting point, and you have to go to the first point on the course and find the marker chip thing that you had to stamp on your card, and then you go to the second point and then the third point. But all of that, you had a compass and a map. So if you're out there on the map, the course is pretty big, and so you have to know how to navigate the mountain by reading the map and using your compass to guide you and where you had to go.
And how long would the course be? Was this like a 10-minute thing?
Oh no, it was like an all morning thing, or sometimes several hours. And so all of this is as a race. So it's the first complete team to finish the course. So so sometimes they were as individuals. So you would have to go out and kind of run it on your own, and sometimes it'd be until your entire team finished. And sometimes you started at different points, and so it was sometimes the race, the distance was the challenge, and sometimes the navigating the map was the challenge. So I thought it was a really fun.
It's a very different activity.
Sport. Yeah, it was a really fun one. Did you participate in sports when you were a kid growing up?
Yeah, I did. A lot of it was not really formal sports. I just played a lot outside. I think it's good to be active.
Yeah, very much.
Did a lot of basketball just in the neighborhood with other people who were around my age, and had a good time.
Good.
How about you?
Yeah, I did a lot of informal. I don't think I did any like team sports or formal sports when I was growing up. I played a lot outside with my friends. I roller skated. That was one of my favorites.
Roller skated, not rollerbladed.
Yes. So I remember, I think, when rollerblades were like introduced as a new thing, and I had just learned how to roller skate. So that was fun. I had many falls roller skating, and
Did you use a helmet?
I know I should have, but I didn't. I think helmets weren't as used when we were kids. Yeah, I definitely should have. I hit my head many times and I fell. Yeah. Would you consider yourself, for some of the sports that you mentioned that you play, which one would you consider yourself the best at?
I would say probably Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it's similar to wrestling, because I also wrestled when I was younger.
Okay.
So I guess I've done that the most number of years.
Yeah.
How about you?
I would say, I guess I'm the best at running. I feel like sometimes it feels like running isn't so much a sport, but it is. I mean, endurance. You have to have endurance, and you have to.
I would say it's definitely a sport.
Yeah.
You get really tired.
Yeah. Going up hills. I enjoy different terrain when I'm running too. Maybe I should look more into hiking.
Do you prefer running on the street or on a hill, like you were orienteering? Or a mountain?
I think I like just different terrains. So I wouldn't want to do all hills like on the mountain, because that gets really tiring, and then you can't do maybe as long of a run as you had wanted to, because it's just really hard. But I like running on the street. I don't really like running on like a track.
You don't like going in circles?
I don't like going in circles. No, I like to see, and especially like when I'm running, exploring like a neighborhood, going down a road I've never gone down before. That's fun for me, and I can use that time to also get to know different parts of the neighborhood I might not see.
And it's good thinking time.
Yeah, and it's good thinking time, as I've said. Yeah. What about watching sports? What sports do you like to watch?
I like to watch a lot of sports. Football. I like to watch football. I also like to watch basketball. I also like to watch MMA, which is mixed martial arts. That's about it. How about you? Do you like to watch sports?
I don't like to watch sports very much.
That's too bad.
I know that when you watch sports, I might sit with you and do something else while you're watching sports. I find, although I do find that if we're watching in person, then I do enjoy watching sports. But on TV, it's just not the same exciting feeling of watching the sports. I mean, I guess some sports I do enjoy watching a little bit. Like basketball is one of the ones I can watch a little bit more because it's just more of a faster paced sport. But in person, I typically don't, as you know, I don't enjoy watching football on TV. But I do enjoy sometimes when we used to watch in person, it's just a different level of excitement in the air.
What's the last sport you watched on TV?
I think it was the Super Bowl. And I mainly watched the Super Bowl for the halftime show.
Do you remember who played?
I don't.
That's okay. You probably remember who played at halftime.
I do remember it was the weekend that played at halftime.
There you go.
So I don't. Who played?
Doesn't matter.
You don't remember either. Yeah, I think sports on TV make it not as exciting sometimes. But I do like to watch though on TV, maybe because I've never had an opportunity to see it in person, but I do love to watch the Olympics on TV. And since it's only every 4 years for the Summer Olympics, one every 4 years for the Winter Olympics, but they're spaced out enough. It's not something that's so common that I feel like when the Olympics are on, I feel more motivated to watch the Olympics.
Except this past summer, they didn't have the Olympics.
Yeah, that's true. That was sad.
They're postponed.
Yeah. But typically, I find that sometimes there are sports I'm not very familiar with that I'm introduced to by watching the Olympics. And that's always fun to be introduced to new sports.
What sport do you like to watch that's in the Olympics?
I like to watch the gymnastics competitions in the Olympics. I like to watch in the Summer Olympics. And I like to watch the track and field Olympic sporting events. Those are fun. And then in the Winter Olympics, I like to watch skiing. I like to watch. This is one that when I was thinking about, I've never heard of these sports until I see them on the Olympics. Curling was one of those sports where it looks like they're like they have a broom in front of a circular disc that you push. That was to me a sport I had never heard of that I was introduced to because of the Olympics.
Would you try curling?
I think I would. It sounds like it looks like it would be fun, and I think it would. It seems like wow, that's so easy. You just sweep away the ice in front of the disc, but I would think it has to require a good amount of technique and patience, and knowing how to sweep that ice.
Probably. It looks confusing actually.
Yeah, but fun. It would be fun to try. Doesn't look so fun to you?
Not really.
We don't often agree on sports. The sports that are fun.
You can try curling.
Oh yeah, we'll try curling. Maybe this kind of curling, right? Some weightlifting.
It's more interesting.
Are there any sports you don't like to watch?
I'm not really a fan of baseball. I might watch the World Series, but regular games, I don't really watch baseball. I don't really watch hockey. I just didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, I grew up with hockey, so hockey was pretty popular. You don't like to watch those on TV or in person or either?
Well, I've never seen a hockey game in person, so I don't know. But I don't like to watch them on TV.
Would you say you prefer to watch sports or to play sports?
So I think I like to do both. Because I think sports are important to do just to be active, but it's also good to watch because it's good entertainment.
Yeah.
How about you?
I agree with you that both. I think in some sports like some of the gymnastics things. I can probably only ever watch. I don't think I would ever be capable of doing something. So it's kind of nice to watch. And then, playing sports is fun. And I think it's also, there's some good life skills to be learned by playing sports. And I think sports can really help us learn about teamwork, learn about some other, working hard and persistence and some other good skills.
You said you weren't capable, but have you tried it?
That's a good point. I have never tried it.
So maybe you're an amazing
Maybe
gymnast.
I am an amazing gymnast in disguise and I just should go try it.
A few years from now, you'll be in the Olympics if you try it.
Yeah.
Never know.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Maybe I am. Do you agree that there's some valuable lessons that sports can teach us?
Absolutely. I think it's great to compete. It teaches you a lot about who you are when you have to try really hard for an athletic goal. If you're playing an individual sport, then you're the only one responsible if you win or lose. If you're in a team sport, then you have to learn how to work together and win or lose as a team. So
Yeah.
I think sports are very important to try.
I agree, especially for kids, right? So what do you think I know some sports are more popular for kids. Are you familiar with some of those sports that are really popular for kids?
Sure. I think soccer is a very important, kids sport that not just kids, but I think it's a very popular sport that kids play. You don't need a whole lot; just need the soccer ball and a goal. And if you don't have a nice big field, you can play it in a yard or an empty lot. And if you don't have a big fancy goal, you could just put two objects and make your own goal.
Or just even draw a line. I remember as a kid just drawing lines and saying, that's the goal. And that was it.
That would work.
That would work. And soccer is like the most popular sport in the world. So that's nice.
Worldwide.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. It's one of the most popular for kids. And I think it's really nice because it's introducing kids to, a sport that it can be a lifelong sport for them. They can play it really anywhere. So you talked about, soccer you don't need very much. Can you think of any sports that require a lot of equipment?
Well, to do football as a formal team, it requires a lot of equipment. The pads, the helmet. But you can also just play it also in an empty lot. All you need is football. So
if you want to be careful and protect yourself, you need a lot of equipment.
That's true. I guess hockey, now that I think
for similar
about it,
reasons.
because you need the ice.
Yeah.
You don't always have ice just randomly.
Oh, that's true.
So you need the ice. You need all the hockey sticks and the puck. So every player would have to have their own stick, otherwise you can't play.
Yeah.
So maybe hockey has the most equipment.
Field hockey, if you don't have the ice, you can do field hockey.
True. You still need your own stick.
You do. The sport that came to mind when I thought of equipment needs would be fencing, because you need, the sword, you need all the protective equipment. You can't just fence with. I mean, I guess you could with a stick, maybe. That wouldn't be very safe.
You could.
Is there a sport that you only tried as an adult?
Well, jiu-jitsu, but I did wrestling, so it's very similar.
Related.
But other than that, probably not.
Is there a sport you'd like to try?
No.
No? Okay.
At this point, if I've tried it, great.
For me, it was swimming. I barely learned to swim. I mean, I've been in the water and I've, go and
Splashing.
splash. And as long as it's not too deep, I'm comfortable in the water. But last summer, actually, I think the pandemic helped because there was just a lot less people. And I finally took swimming lessons.
I think that's an important life skill. I think
Yeah.
everyone should at least try to swim, because even if you're not really fast, it's good for survival. You can go have fun at a lake and be safe.
Yeah, and so that was the biggest motivator, is that, we were spending a lot of time at the lake, and I have a life jacket, and I will still continue to use my life jacket, but I feel just much more confident.
Even if the water sticks.
Yes, even if the water's not very deep. There I am with my life jacket. But I do think that it's an important for survival, but also I found that it's really fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I think that it's something I want to continue to learn more and practice more and hopefully improve.
Well, sounds good. Well, it's good to talk to you today.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me, and thanks to everyone for listening.
All right.
Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.